What is up, guys? Brian Story here, and welcome to your 5th tutorial on how to build a web server. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the PSU, which stands for the power supply unit. We're going to assemble our case, and we're going to connect our power to our motherboard. So let's get started. Now let's talk about the PSU a little bit here. There are two main types of power supply units. There are modular types and non-modular types. I bought an inexpensive one, so I did not get a modular type. And what I mean by modular, let's define that. So a modular PSU is a PSU that instead of having these cables all grouped together and coming out of the same spot, lets you connect them individually so that you can save space inside of your case and only connect what you really need. Now that is really, really, really nice. If you can get a modular power supply, I say do it 100% of the time. Now I was going for an inexpensive build, so that's why I didn't put the money into it. But if you can do it, go ahead and do it. So obviously this is a non-modular power supply. So what do we do with all these extra cables? Well, we're going to handle them by doing a little bit of cable management, and I'll show you that in a later video. So anyway, let's get started. Let's install this thing. So we're going to put our motherboard aside for the moment. We're just going to tuck it away over here. Let's pick up our case, manhandle that onto the table, and let's install our power supply. So I know that heat rises, as you should too. And so here's our fan. See that thing? The heat is going to come through the back of the computer into here, and we want it to shoot up from the top of our case. So let's do this. Let's just slide our power supply into here, because this is the bay that holds it right there. And all we have to do is take these screws, these silver screws that come with the power supply, and we're just going to screw them right into the back of the case. Just like that. So there's our first screw. Here's our second screw. Here's our third screw. And our final screw. That's really all you need, just these four, and your power supply is mounted. You're ready to go. Okay guys, now we want to connect our power supply to our motherboard. So what we're going to have to do is put our motherboard back in there, slide the whole case back together, and then connect our power supply to that board. So first, before we do that, let's look for our cables. You're going to need your 24 pin. That's this big brick looking thing. This is a really, really thick cable, the thickest cable that you're going to find on this whole string of wires. So put this aside. I'll shove it back there. And we're also going to need a 4-pin, which is right here. Cool. So sometimes these are 8-pin adapters. They connect together like that. But if you pull them apart, you get two 4-pin adapters. We're just going to need one of these for this build. So we're also going to put that back there. Now, we got to slide this into here, which is really, really easy. It's just like how we slid it out in the beginning. So these will power our fan, and they are connected to the back of this case right there. All we have to do is slide these in with it. So just like that. And there's little tabs in here to slide it underneath, so it's a nice smooth slide. And that will go in just like that. Okay, the first power connector that we're going to connect is our 4-pin. And the best way to do that is to pull this case out, because our 4-pin is actually right there. See that that white 4-pin adapter? So what we want to do is take our 4-pin cable, slide it through like that. And just go ahead and plug it in there. Alright, now we're set with that. Go ahead and slide this back in like this. And let's hook up our 24 pin. Here's our 24 pin, and we're just gonna clip it into this white piece here. And I didn't really hear a click, but it's definitely in there nice and solid. Okay, so now that stuff is set. All that's left to really do is plug in our case connectors right here. So let's take our case cables. These guys, they're all the funky color guys, and let's sort through them. So we have an HDD light, we have a power switch, we have a reset switch, and we have two other power cables. I'm not quite sure. I think those just go, those are power LEDs. And that's pretty much it. So that's all we have to connect. Oh yeah, and we have a speaker that we have to connect. So let's connect our speaker first. It's usually the easiest. Now, the way that these work, and we'll just mount the camera there so you can see them all. Now the way that this stuff works is there's a positive and there's a negative to each side. And if you look right here, usually there's an arrow that marks the positive side. I don't think you can see it, but yeah, there we go. So, labeled underneath this white bracket is like a map of where everything plugs into. And we see there's also a plus and a minus next to each word, which lets us know that speaker goes on in this direction, like that. Okay, so now let's plug in the power. So the positive is on the right side and the negative is on the left side in this particular case. And we'll plug it in just like that. And let's see, what else? What else? There's an HD, I think it's a hard drive light. There's a reset button and there's a power LED. Okay. So the reset button, minus is on the right side, plus is on the left side, goes in opposite everything else. And let's see what else. HDD LED, just plus on the right side. Just like that. And the last one we have is the power LEDs. So power on the right side, negative on the left side. Okay, and that is pretty much all you have to do. Let's round up these cables a little bit, make them a little neater. Okay, and all I did was kind of run them around there, and we'll tape them or we'll wire them to the case before we complete the build. Alright, and that's going to conclude this video, so subscribe, check out the next video. We're going to do a post test, and we're going to plug in the remainder of our power cables. See you guys then.